场专题演讲，邀请到的是亚太网路资讯中心罗家荣总监为我们主讲。We will now proceed to our keynote speech today, and it's a great pleasure to have Mr. Jia-Rong Lo, Director General of APNIC, as our first keynote speaker. 罗家荣总监呢是网络技术产业中经验非常丰富的资深领袖。在加入 APNIC 之前呢，他在设立 ICANN 亚太区域办公室当中扮演关键角色，推动 ICANN 的全球化策略，并且担任亚太区的总经理，来负责整体的区域营运。在 ICANN 任职的11年期间，对亚太地区的网络社群贡献良多，并且跟各界的利害关系人、政府机关还有区域机构都建立非常深厚的合作关系。Mr. Lo is a seasoned senior leader in the internet technology industry. Before joining APNIC, he played a pivotal role in establishing ICANN's Asia-Pacific Regional Office, where he led the organization's globalization strategy and served as a managing director of Asia-Pacific, overseeing regional operations. Over his 11-year tenure at ICANN, he made significant contributions to the Asia-Pacific internet community, building strong partnerships with key stakeholders, government agencies, and regional institutions. 今天罗家荣总监要跟大家分享的主题是全球网络发展的趋势与亚太地区的角色。And today, Mr. Lo will speak to us about global networking trends and the role of Asia-Pacific region. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Lo. 我们掌声欢迎罗家荣总监。
Thank you. 刚刚就说了，我是
So as I said, I prepared the presentation in English, so I might code switch between different languages. Today, I'm going to talk about global networking trends. I will also cover the impact of these trends on us, especially on the APAC community. So perhaps I will start by introducing all of you to APNIC as an organization. Probably you have all heard of APNIC. If you have your own network and you are a SP or a network operator, you definitely need an IP address, and you need to get the address from APNIC. One thing special about APNIC is that we have the NIR National Internet Registry, which is TWNIC in Taiwan. It is our NIR under APNIC. So usually members of the domestic community can directly become a member of the TWNIC to access an IP address. And a lot of operators would not only get a network in Taiwan, but also a regional network across the APAC region. If that's the case, they would approach APNIC to get IP addresses. So the mission of APNIC is to support the growth and development of the internet through the allocation of number resources. So our main remit still covers the allocation of number and addresses. So that's our main mission as an organization. So we function more like a register, but actually when we allocate addresses to you, you indirectly becomes our member. So you are one of our stakeholders. And the APNIC is also governed by a multi-stakeholder model. So you are our members. That means you also share part of the responsibility of governing APNIC. So this is quite a huge task or responsibility. So if we don't do a good job in our mission, we'll actually lose the trust given to us around the world. So that's why we rely on all stakeholders of APNIC in order to improve our governance. And I think this is something I like to highlight in the very beginning. And secondly, as members of APNIC, not only can we provide IP addresses to you or to our members, we can also provide a lot of other services, products, tools at your disposal, so you can actually better manage your IP addresses. So this is something many of you are not aware of. You probably think of APNIC as a provider of IP addresses, but we also want to do everything possible to provide different kinds of services and products to all of you in order to better manage your IP addresses and digital assets. And the second line, I'll just talk about our function as a registry. Our second role is actually in development because a lot of people, they come to APNIC feeling that we provide a lot of training and courses. We are like a training host. But actually, our main mission is to support the growth and development of the internet. And the definition of the word definition has been extensively discussed in-house. And we find that training is only a means to an end. We want to achieve something, so we'll probably have the whole courses. But what is our main goal? Our main goal is to promote the deployment of IPv6, and in terms of network security, we want to champion or promote our PKI, and we also support Internet Exchange Points or IHPs. Last but not least, we also encourage the deployment of root servers. So in these four aspects, we actually have some concrete facts or numbers, which I'll share with you later in my presentation. For example, when it comes to the deployment of IPv6, we had some regional breakdown in terms of percentage, which I will share with you. And the third pillar of our mission is that, as I said, APNIC is governed from a bottom up in a multi-stakeholder approach. So we have to think about how to strengthen engagement with the community. So that's why we actually emphasize the importance of knowledge exchange. We host an annual conference once every 6 months. Together with other platforms, we provide opportunities to members to talk about our trends and challenges in order to exchange knowledge. And also, we want to foster a policy development space. So in light of the current challenges and trends, sometimes we need to adjust our policy. So we need the input of the entire community. It's not something which I can call the shots. So especially given the current international situation, this is an aspect where we want to strengthen our solidarity.
So perhaps I can start with some good news for you. Throughout the entire Asia-Pacific region, over the past 30 years, as you can see, deployment in this entire region has officially exceeded 50%. As you can see, there have been ups and downs along the way. But now, according to our statistics for the entire region, the adoption rate of IPv6 is now over 50%. All credits to all the efforts we've been making, because we have embarked on a very long journey, and finally, we can claim we have finally made the breakthrough of our adoption rate of IPv6 in Asia-Pacific. It's now officially over 50%. So in terms of IPv6 capability, in October of last year, if we look at AREN, which is North America, the number was already 50%. And APNIC, as mentioned already, we are now officially over 50% this year. So I also would like to provide you with an overview of the IP addressing trends. Perhaps we can start with IPv6. IPv4. For a lot of people, IPv4 still provides great value, especially given the limited supply. People tend to believe that IPv4 is quite precious. However, while we promote IPv6, we know that IPv4 has become saturated. There are more and more IPv6-based service deployment. Therefore, the pressure for continuing to promote IPv4 has been reduced. That's why the market price for IPv4, starting from last year, has stabilized Now it's between $10 to $30. So this has to do with the promotion of IPv6. Now, on the topic of IPv6, this is by percentage growth for different countries. As you can see, the leading economies are Pacific Island nations, because the total number of the users is actually very small. Therefore, it's very easy for them to have more than 50% of growth. However, if we do not just look at by percentage, if we look at the absolute number of users, then as you can see, China tops the chart given its large population. Japan, Pakistan are also among the leading economies. But what's not shown on the chart is India. This is actually quite strange because last year, IPv6 has seen its number of users decline. We still don't know why, so we still need to do some research. However, I would like to point out Taiwan on this chart to you. I think there's an increase of 500,000 in Taiwan in terms of number of users for IPv6. Again, thanks to our members here in Taiwan. Now, this is a look at IPv6 user community here in Asia Pacific. If we know that Asia Pacific accounts for more than 50% of the total number of IPv6 users in the world. This goes to show when we want to do IPv6 deployment, this means that we want to create more opportunities for growth. Because it's easier to expand by tapping into IPv6 resources. So this means Asia Pacific is a region of growth. That's why we have more IPv6 users as compared with other countries. And now I also would like to talk about routing network security trend. Basically, we would like to prioritize RPKI. There are two RPKI, ROA, ROA, and ROV. ROA is all about authorization, and ROV is about validation. Again, I would like to thank all our members, because here in Taiwan, we see ROA has reached 70%, and earlier this year, it's reached more than 90%. Yesterday, because the Minister of Digital Affairs mentioned that Taiwan is often under tax. So ROA is especially important. RPKI is especially important for Taiwan. We know that the community here in Taiwan is very proactive. And last year, in terms of RPKI, ROV use, there was a slight decline of 2%. Although it's not a major decline, but we still need to get to the bottom of the issue. We really need to make sure we do everything right when making ROV deployment. But globally speaking, we still need to find a better way for promoting RPKI. So we hope that Taiwanese operators can share your success stories through the platforms provided by APNIC. This is APNIC-TWNIC. Throughout the region, we have 410 sensors. And we deploy these sensors in order to attract bad traffic. And throughout the entire region, we will add 100 more sensors. So by the end of the year, we will have more than 500 sensors. And as a matter of fact, here in Taiwan, we attracted a total of more than 90,000 attacks in Taiwan. As you can see, the top three economies are India, China, and Taiwan, as mentioned by Ministry of Digital Affairs yesterday. Indeed, Taiwan has been under a lot of attacks. To being aware is just step number one. Step number two is to beef up our security protection. As mentioned at APNIC, we do provide various services to our members so that you can have more success in promoting IPv6. For example, we provide Dash. This is a dashboard for autonomous system health. You will be able to look at your ASN and to identify the IP address that has attacked honeypot. So that means this will be the problematic address. If you are an APNIC member, you can log on to our dash.apnic.net in order to get more details. So we believe security remains a key topic, and we are still engaged in the discovery of more feasible ways of strengthening the security of our network. And finally, nowadays, people talk about New World Order because international trends are changing very rapidly. Donald Trump is sitting in the White Office of the United States. He has already waged the tariff war. Previously, it was always the case that the United States was taking the lead in creating the rule-based world order. But Trump has made it very clear that's not what he's interested in. He wants to create a new world order based on protectionism and national self-reliance. However, it is not just limited to the states. A lot of Western economies, countries such as Germany, France, they are actually doing very similar things because this type of movement was actually driven by populism. Given this new international trend, what kind of implications will they create? This will lead to national compartmentalization. In other words, borders will become more restricted in terms of accepting imported goods and services, and this will include transfer of digital assets. Therefore, digital assets and the digital infrastructure will now be handed over to national government. So how will tariffs impact our community? Well, number one, costs will be higher, as mentioned by our Prime Minister in Singapore. If our global trade is negatively impacted, then Singapore is likely to go into recession, and if it's the same situation for all countries in the world, then obviously the entire industry will be hugely affected. But so far, we still do not know what the impact will be eventually. So this warrants further discussion. Internet is all about globalization. And as mentioned by Kenny, the operation of the Internet is based on self-governance. In other words, we don't need to have any regulations imposed on us. Rather, we can actually derive some rules based on the consensus forged among the user communities. And obviously, we need to follow different trends at different times. Right now, the trend is protectionism. If that's also the philosophy of the user community, then this is likely to lead to the fragmentation of the Internet. As a matter of fact, we are already hearing some of the kind of rhetorics. So I don't think that's a very good trend. Therefore, we hope we can make some major adjustment. I think we need to engage one another in more discussions so that we can do a better job of protecting our internet. Because internet is based on trust. However, if now there are different schools of thought, then this will indirectly lead to the fragmentation of the internet. In other words, we are probably at a time of crisis. Well, but we often say that there's an old Chinese saying, the flip side of crisis is opportunity. So let's not forget, this is Asia century. As mentioned already, in terms of total number of users of IPv6, that's already over 60% of the total population in Asia Pacific. So over the past decade, almost all the growth of IPv6 has concentrated in Asia Pacific. That's why we have a lot of influence. We have 56 economies in APNIC region, including some of the largest and fastest growing economies in the world. So we don't need to look to the West for leadership. As a matter of fact, we are able to do a lot of things on our own. But at the same time, we need to make sure our voice will be heard all around the world. And we need to contribute to more discussion on this very important topic. And also within our region, we need to strengthen our network connectivity, especially internet-enabled industry. Internet companies need to collaborate with one another. So coming back to the topic of internet governance, we really need to make sure the entire user community will be able to speak up so that we can be more influential in the area of international internet governance. With the 2 final minutes, I would like to talk about the responsibility of APNIC. In order to make sure the entire user community continue to place their trust in the internet, then APNIC needs to be a trustworthy and sustainable institution. We have to deal with issues such as budget deficit, and that requires a lot of hard work. In February, I already made a commitment at a meeting in Malaysia, and also we mentioned that not only we will be more effectively manage our budget, but we will be very transparent, and we will be announcing our budget from now to 2027. So obviously, given the current world situation, we are under tremendous pressure in terms of our budget. I think it's probably the same situation for your organization as well. So we need to continue to work hard in order to reduce our cost, given the fact that now we have a smaller budget. And we also need to strengthen our own governance. APNIC is not governed by our employees. Rather, APNIC is governed by our user community. So we all need to work together. In terms of our staff, we will continue to support users' community, and we want to make available more resources for our user community in order to facilitate whatever you want to do. Especially, we really need to deliver some policies on timing, on being relevant. Security is a very important priority. And also, governance is another very important topic. And ICP2 will be covered in our afternoon session, and Nicole will be making a presentation on that topic. And we hope that during the lunch break, you probably can take some time off, but at 1:30, please come back to this room because there will be very important discussion. My final point, whether you are a member of APNIC or a member of TWNIC, when you use IP addresses to to run your network, to operate your network. Basically, this means that you are using this unified business card provided by the internet. So we are all at the same boat. We are all stakeholders. We shouldn't say that we are just using the IP address from APNIC in order to make money. But actually, we are using the same internet. We are using the same cloud system. Therefore, the reason why I have been with this community for so long, it is always because I believe the unified internet is probably the best invention for humankind. If we do not maintain the integrity of the internet, if we allow the internet to become fragmented, this will push back human civilization by at least 20 or 30 years. So you are all owners and users of the internet. So let's work together to make sure the internet will become even better going forward. Thank you.